Y'all sing with me now. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we'll take a look at the person next to you. I recognize the God in you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God in each other. Oh, well, take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love. Woo.
Teresa James, everyone. She's been on the road for a while. We finally get her back. Yeah. So nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
And so welcome to those of you who may not know me. My name is Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. I'm the senior minister here at the Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills. For those of you joining us on the love stream on the internet, we welcome you. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and then you'll never miss us. Yeah, so as I said, we're coming to you live from the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California. That's in the North San Fernando Valley. We're a faith community who welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And we're delighted to have as our presider this morning the wonderful Vinu Alag. Yeah, you can give her some love. All right. So let's start by taking a deep, conscious breath. Feeling the exhale, just allowing ourselves to surrender to this moment, this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Vinu lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, for the space we hold for them here in our sanctuary, within our online community, and of course, within our own hearts. And as Vinu lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
As we stay here together a few more moments, recognizing the one mind, the one heart, the one universal consciousness that flows to, through, and as each and every person here today. Knowing that we are each one with this gorgeous, glittery God stuff we call life, we call love, we call source. Knowing we are one with all that is wisdom, clarity, unity, oneness. I know right here and right now that today's service unfolds in divine perfection, that we are each here by divine appointment, that the right and perfect messages are received, that our hearts expand through the music, through the words, through the energy that is embodied in this collective co-creation. I'm so grateful for the center, for Reverend Dr. Mike, for our AV team, our musician, for each person here today. For each part makes this whole great. It is with this full and grateful heart I release my word to the law, knowing it is done, knowing it is all love. And together we affirm by saying, and so it is. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. So some of you know I've been gone for a while. I don't think I've been up here in a couple of months. And as I was thinking about what to talk about today, there were lots of ideas, and one kept saying, I'm not going to talk about that, though. That's the one thing I'm not going to talk about. Well, you know what happens when someone says, don't think about a pink elephant. You can't help but think about a pink elephant. I thought, I guess I have to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about pain. I know it's not really a fun topic for a Sunday morning, especially a beautiful, sunny, flowery Mother's Day Sunday morning. But as I was catching up on last week's service, I realized Reverend Nancy was presiding, and guess what she talked about? Joy. She talked about joy. And I laughed because I'd already decided, okay, I'm going to do this talk. Because what is that but the other side of duality, right? We are human beings. We live in this world of duality. It would be a disservice to ignore that if we are experiencing joy, we only know what joy feels like because we know what the other end of the stick feels like. Otherwise, it would just all be neutral, right? At first, I thought, it's just kind of a depressing topic. But then I'm going to confess, my ego also got in the way. My ego thought, I don't want to share with them that I've been going through pain for a couple of months because I feel like I'm kind of failing at this metaphysician stuff. I've been in the science of mind for several years. I'm a practitioner here. I've studied Rumi for over a decade, the law of attraction for longer than that. Like, what am I doing? Why am I not healed yet, right? But then I realized something. That's why we have practitioners. That's why we have ministers. Ministers and practitioners still need other ministers and practitioners. Because when we're in the muck of it, when we're experiencing whatever we're experiencing, whether it's grief, emotional pain, physical pain, it's really hard sometimes to tap into that knowingness that I am divine. I am one with all that is. I am perfect, whole, and complete. Because that nagging thing is like, I doesn't feel like that. I'm sorry, it's hard, right? So I just have such a deep gratitude for all the people, and many are in this room, who've been able to hold the truth for me. And we do that for our friends and loved ones, don't we? When a friend comes to you crying, they lost their job, or there was a really bad breakup, don't we hold that space for them? We don't think, oh, they're broken, their life is over, right? We hold for them the knowingness that this too shall pass. You may not see it yet, but it will. I recently read this book called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. The author is Lori Gottlieb. She's a therapist. And in this book, she shares a few stories of 4 different clients of hers. She also shares her own journey. She has to see a therapist, and she shares that journey as well. Her reason for going is a bad breakup. She's heartbroken. She's a single mom, and it sideswipes her, and she's just heartbroken. But she has trouble with the fact that she's falling apart because she has a client who's in her 20s and is a newlywed and is dying of cancer. And she has another client who's this big hotshot producer, and he's kind of a jerk to everyone, but she finds out that his son died when his son was only 6 years old. So she feels like, who am I to complain? This is just a breakup. But she has this epiphany. She says, we shouldn't compare our pain. Pain is not a contest. There's no hierarchy in suffering. And we often do that, don't we? We talk down to ourselves, like, why am I feeling so horribly? There are people suffering in the world. There are bigger problems out there. But to each of us, what we're going through, that's huge. We can't see outside of that sometimes. And I also thought about this, like, why have I been so cocooned about all of this? Why is there shame around this? Why is there denial around this? I thought about what Carl Jung says. He says, as long as we keep the unconscious from becoming conscious, it will direct our lives and we will call it fate. Rumi tells us, do not look for the cure outside of ourselves, that the salve is within the wound. So all of these great teachers over the years are directing us in the same space, that we can't look out there to figure out what's going on in here, right? I still don't know everything that's going on in here that's creating the stuff out here, but I'm working on it. But you can only do that if you're willing to open up, to share, right? We're only able to do that if we can shed light on it. Ernest Holmes says, pain is not necessarily an enemy, since it calls attention to serious conditions which need to be changed, thus enabling one to take the proper steps in rearranging one's life. All experiences should tend to enlarge our awareness of the real purpose of life and help us to arrive at a greater realization of the spirit that is within us. We can only do this if we're willing to acknowledge what's happening. And I also want to add, as long as we're gentle with ourselves, right? What good does it do if we beat up on ourselves? I think it keeps us stuck. I think it keeps us stuck in that same condition. I'll admit, there was a day, like 6, 7 weeks into this, I felt like I'm in Groundhog Day. You know that movie Groundhog Day? Same thing over and over again. At least I have the awareness that, Vinu, you're doing the same thing, you're thinking the same thoughts, that's why you're stuck in the same place. I'm glad to say I have shifted a bit, which is why I'm here today. But I just encourage everyone to just recognize if there's something in you that's hurting, emotionally, mentally, physically, to not push it away, to welcome it in. Pema Chodron says, welcome it, bake it a cake, sit with it, right? So for any of you, I just would like this takeaway of just love yourself a little bit more, just hold yourself a little bit more, and be willing to share with those around you. Thank you.
Honor of Mother's Day. Grandma's hands clapped at church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands played the tambourine so well. Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She'd say, baby, don't you run so fast. Might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes up in the grass. Grandma's hands. Grandma's hands soothed the local unwed mother. Grandma's hands used to ache sometimes and sweat. Grandma's hands used to lift her face and tell her, she'd say, baby, Grandma understands that you really love that man. Put yourself in God's own hands. Grandma's hands. Grandma's hands used to hand me a piece of candy. Grandma's hands picked me up each time I fell. Grandma's hands, they really came in handy. She'd say, honey, why you wanna whip that child? What you wanna spank him by? Didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have Grandma anymore. And when I leave this life, I go looking for Grandma's hand.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you, Teresa. Beautiful. A few announcements. Practitioners, as usual, are available for a 2-minute tune-up. If you're a licensed practitioner, please raise your hand. So these are the people you can go to after service if you have something you'd like to chat about. Wednesday, May 14th, Taze meditation will take place in the sanctuary. Come enjoy a midweek reset of peaceful prayer and chanting, facilitated by our Catherine Kitty Hack. May 21st at 7 p.m., we're having an open mic night. This will be an evening to share a 5-minute original short story, poem, and more. The theme for the evening is sharing the beauty and strength of overcoming life's challenges. Please RSVP to participate and send a summary of your family-friendly entry to admin@cslgh.org or ginny.jamari@gmail.com by this upcoming Wednesday, May 14th. We love your dogs and love you. However, we kindly ask folks to leave their pets at home when coming to service. Thank you. Calendar event updates. Tai Chi is canceled for May 29th. Law of Attraction group will now be held on third Sundays at 1 p.m. Gratitude box. Do we have the gratitude box today? Thank you. I'll let Barbara read this.
Simple one. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day. Okay, so this one's really simple. It says they're grateful for my home.
Thank you.
Yay.
Now, please stand for the Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
All right, please sing with me here. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I woke up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Let's sing it again like we mean it. Come on. Wake up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Said, feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. My God is so good to me.
All right, Teresa James, everybody. Woo. So where were you anyway?
Oh, we went all up and down the East Coast and Chicago, and then we went down to Florida and did a bunch of shows. It was really fun.
Cool.
But I missed you guys.
Yeah. Did you say hi to the new Pope for us, or in Chicago? No? Oh, he was busy then.
He was kind of busy.
Yeah.
But you know, he is a trombone player.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and he took his horn with him to the Vatican.
So the new Pope is a trombone player, like Will Riker. I guess no next gen fans, I guess. All right. So our theme for the month is Raise Your Voice. Our talk title today is Boundary Keepers, Nurturing Healthy Connections. But of course, before we get into all of that, happy Mother's Day. Yes, to all of you who are mothers or had a mother, and I want to give a special shout out to my sister Teresa, my 5 sisters-in-laws, my new daughter-in-law, my bonus mom Eileen, who often joins us online from Ohio, my godmother, who happens to be in the house today, and we refer to Eileen now as our bonus mom because she was married to my dad. And I got this bonus mom idea from one of our friends who was step-parenting. So I thank Laura for that. It's a very sweet recognition. So no step-parents, only bonus parents. And I have a soft spot for bonus parents because I was one a couple times. And now I am to dogs. So what do you know? They're a little easier. You can put them in a crate. But yeah, you can't do that with kids. So don't try that at home. So I have a soft spot for bonus parents. And you know, there are so many bonus parents in this modern era. You know, and that's not a place coming from a place of judgment, just fact. You know, for that matter, families come in many varieties and configurations these days. We have blended families, same-sex couples raising children together. We have foster families, grandparents taking on oversized roles. You know, all are unique and valuable expressions of love and need to be honored as such, as well as those women who wanted to have children and for whatever reason that didn't happen for them. And also women who figured out early on that they didn't want to be mothers. I mean, that's saving a lot of grief right there. And some of you have firsthand experience of that, I know. So I want to honor them all. And I'm so grateful to know this idea that it takes a village to raise a child. And I say yes to that idea. Yes to all it implies as a minister. Yes to what it means for me as just a guy in the checkout line watching an overwhelmed parent with a fussy kid, or even as a taxpayer. Just so long as I can give the kid back at the end of the day. I'm good with all of it, because I'm not as young as I used to be. So here's to all who make or have made the commitment of raising children your number one priority, and to supporting them when the opportunity arises. So what, if anything, has Mother's Day to do with today's talk title and focus, right? Boundary keepers, nurturing healthy connections. Well, maybe for you it depends on who your parents were. But if you had skilled parents, it really was about boundary keepers and this idea of nurturing healthy connections. Now, I've been considering this idea all week long. You know, Mother's Day, boundaries, healthy connections. And there is an intersectionality going on here with Mother's Day and boundaries. And so I ask you this question. So what was the first boundary you ever encountered in your life? What's the first boundary you ever encountered in your life? Ponder silently. What was your first boundary you encountered in your life? Okay, so where I landed on this, stick with me here. The first boundary that all of us faced was when we were weaned. Now, all mammals do this. For all mammals are the primary food source for young offspring. Now, I don't have an oral fixation going on here, so just so we know. That weaning is an important development phase for all mammals, particularly humans, I would say. Now, Steffi and I foster dogs. Yeah, that's a totally manipulative picture, by the way. Right? So we foster dogs and several pups. We're fostering a pup. I should really tell the truth. Stephanie is fostering a pup. And as I'm getting more comfortable with fostering, I realize that you can tell the pups who've been removed from the mother too early, who were weaned too early. And in the case of dogs, learning the pecking order of boundaries that were set within the litter, right? Because the puppies tend to be really snappy and all that because they don't have those, the rough and tumble that goes on within the litter because they were removed too early. So now, although we may believe that some people that we know or have known in our lives may have been raised by wolves, this is not so. So even Romulus and Remus are an old Roman myth around the formation of Rome. A wolf cannot raise a human child, not even Mowgli. Sorry, Mr. Disney. The point is that we have all been weaned. We've all been weaned, but only a few of us had anything to do with the weaning. We've all been weaned, but only mothers have had to do the weaning. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't those around us who offer support around that, and not having done it myself personally as a mother, not that I wouldn't have if I could. If I could have taken that pain away for her, I absolutely would have. No moms are laughing. So not having done this for myself as a mother, my observation is that I believe weaning to be an art form born of necessity, tempered by empathy and genuine care for the well-being of the child. Now, I don't know what that experience offers for the second child. Like knowing how to wean the first one, does that make any difference? I don't know. We're all different. And I imagine that there are some babies who take weaning in stride and others who fight it all the way. So I belabor the point to say that when we were weaned, we experienced our first boundary. And hopefully, we got through it with a loving connection still intact. So perhaps the relationship with the child then takes on a new dimension, as there is now a freedom from dependency for both the mother and the child. The nurturing now moves to a different experience, maybe now moving from dependence, maybe even interdependence. I'll leave you to ponder that one. Now, Paramahansa Yogananda, he loved his mother deeply. He speaks to that in his book, Autobiography of a Yogi. And in fact, he speaks to having an experience of being conscious in his mother's womb. Yeah, so maybe that's what makes you a guru. So let me tell you about what it was like in my mom's womb. No. It was dark, man. It was warm, but it was dark. So he wrote this, that a mother's love is not given to us to spoil us with indulgence, but to soften our hearts, that we may in turn then soften others with kindness. Not to spoil us with indulgence, but to soften our hearts, that we may in turn soften others with kindness. We are weaned, we continue to grow and to be parented. We bump up against other boundaries, right? We are, and we are parented by some parents, of course, are more skillful than others. I think that our children are more skillful parents than maybe we were. And we all, including the parents we grew up with, we really need to acknowledge that they did the best they could and are doing the best they can. Because maybe you have one of those parents who's still trying to parent you at 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. It's hard not to. For those of us who have adult children, it's hard not to like give them advice when they haven't asked for it, right? But it's even harder to take advice when you haven't asked for it either, right? So we are weaned, we continue to grow. And some are born in human litters. I was one of 8 children. Some are not. We went to school, became socialized. We learned boundaries, at least me growing up. I don't know what it's like for kids today or those who are, say, 20, 30 years younger than I am. But we learned boundaries the hard way. In fact, there wasn't even really any language about that I remember from like until maybe the 80s or 90s. People started talking about boundaries. Maybe, what was that guy, Brad Shaw? I think that was the first time I heard about it. So basically for us, it was like, keep your hands to yourself and good luck on the playground. There was no language of boundaries. It was a kind of learn it as you go proposition. So what is a boundary? What is a boundary? Well, Brené Brown defines it as what's okay and what's not okay. That she believes boundaries are about respect for yourself and the other person. Without boundaries, the healthy lines in a relationship become blurred, and you may begin taking responsibility for someone else, for what someone else should be responsible for. Now, there's a lot of good research on this now, particularly in homes where alcoholism was present, for instance, that the kids tend to take on more stuff. Now, Henry Cloud says boundaries. There's the rest of Brené's thing there. Keep up. So, or maybe I should keep up. So boundaries are what define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A boundary shows where I end and someone else begins, leading to a sense of ownership. So really, knowing boundaries, setting boundaries are really about finding freedom, more freedom in our life, and allowing freedom for the other as well. So establishing those boundaries, of course, there's the rub. You know, how to do it with clarity, focus, grace, and ease. And maybe even setting the boundary is not really the issue. It's maintaining the boundary that can be the challenge. Yes? Yes. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. Yeah. Now, at some point, I can tell you, when you get old enough, you just say, screw it, and you just do whatever you want anyway. But until we get there, we're supposed to be growing in our understanding and in our compassion. Right? I think about my mother when she learned about boundaries. Man, she could be tough. She could be tough. But she mellowed as she got older. And I think that's what setting boundaries often feels to the other person, feels like it can feel harsh, it's too direct, right? But for someone who's let it go too long, they might have to be really, hey, man. And it's hard on the people who's having the boundary set. What feels like against them. But really what it is a new agreement that they may or may not have been consulted on. Now in the business world, well, and moving into this, I think it's good to know that love is behind all of it. that love is the self-givingness of spirit. That's important for us as we're setting these boundaries to know this is the truth of our being, that the desire of life is to express itself in terms of creation, that love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible, and that love is also part of this idea of setting a boundary. Because if it wasn't important to us to keep a relationship intact, we'd just walk away from it. There would be no boundary setting. So in order for us to deepen, to grow in ways intimate, meaning that we're discovering new stuff about ourselves, that's one of the benefits of setting healthy boundaries. Now, in the business world, one may think this boundary idea is self-evident. There's all kinds of boundaries set in the business environment, but that's from an uneven power base, right? So there's an unspoken power dynamic here. So whether it's a manager in a company or an employer, there's the power of the paycheck, right? There's the and there's the power of the person who is wielding the power in the dynamic, but there's also for the worker the fear of losing the paycheck, losing their livelihood. And healthy work environments are about folks sharing authority with mutual respect. In a very real way, this is what human resource departments are trying to do, supposed to be doing. Sharing authority of mutual respect. So to be most effective, leaders must learn to be both directive and respectful. And learning how to speak up for ourselves as a worker is also part of the dynamic as well. That being bossy is no longer an effective strategy. Being bossy is so 80s. That collaboration is the new buzzword in management, which means bringing flexibility, even compassion and empathy to the dynamic. But it only works well when boundaries are established and respected. And what's true in business is true in our personal relationships as well. So frankly, I think the world today is in this gigantic transition around this particular power dynamic. And maybe more moms should be called into the conversation. Right? What would the world look like if a mother was elected pope? Or president, for that matter? Maybe moms should be called into the conversation where once domination, even bullying, may have been tolerated, even encouraged. We're learning that collaboration is the most effective strategy. That domination can get ugly. And there's a beauty and harmony in the collaborative relationship, whether on the job or in the home. So perhaps it's time to be weaned off the old winner-take-all tactics of domination and find our way to collaborative living. Now, this may be challenging to older men who have been conditioned into thinking that domination is the path to being the king of the hill. And this may have been true. I'll even say it may have been true at one time. The problem with being the king of the hill is that there's no room at the top for anyone else. There can be only one. And even though every team has a quarterback, it's still a team. You really can't win anything on your own. You can't win anything on your own. So for people of faith, for men of faith, this transition can be made easier if we remind ourselves what Ernest Holmes once wrote, that we can be certain that there is an intelligence in the universe to which we may come that will guide and inspire us, a love which overshadows. God is real to the one who believes in the Supreme Spirit, real to the soul that senses unity with the whole. Now, can we take that into our working life? Yeah, you bet we can. In fact, really the question is why aren't we? Can we bring that into our relationships? Yes. Why aren't we? You know, boundaries are a natural order in the universe. Boundaries help us maintain our connection to the whole as we maintain our connection to the other. That healthy boundaries build unity. So in their book, The Feminine Face of God, Sherry Anderson, Patricia Hopkins quote a Native American teacher who taught that we are creating a new world now. And what is really new lies in the great womb where all possibilities are. We need to go in and bring that forth. You know, this is totally in alignment with religious science, by the way, where the subjective is known, Holmes called the womb of nature. This is the birthplace where ideas become form. But she goes on to speak particularly to women that if we who know what it is to bring forth the unknown from our bodies can't be comfortable with this process, we'll just continue to perpetuate the old ways, and we'll all be in trouble. Because while it is scary for us women, it's far scarier for men who have never had the experience of giving birth and who must be very frightened. Like I said, if I could take this pain for you. A quality of the life experience is to bring forth life. And yet, this cannot happen alone. We are not asexual beings. Although the world in modern times up until now may have been dominated by men, it is clear that women are up to the task of leading, perhaps because of the unique experience of being women. The ability to bring soft power to a situation which is anchored in compassion. So Yogananda said this. He went on further when he was talking about a mother's love is not given to us to spoil us with indulgence, but rather to soften our hearts. He went on to say, in India, we speak of God as Mother Divine. Every mother is a manifestation of God's unconditional love. Although human mothers can be imperfect, the divine mother is perfect. Mothers were created by God to show us that we are loved with or without cause. And then, this blessing, may all the sons and daughters of the world be filled with that motherly affection, which is the reflection of the divine mother's unconditional love, that we may give that unconditional motherly love to one another so that we have peace and heaven on earth. Now, this is not to say there is no role for men. We'll get into that next month around Father's Day, because I have plenty to say around that. But rather to say that it's time that we stand shoulder to shoulder, not one person in the front or the back, shoulder to shoulder, facing the world in the same direction with different perspectives, that there's a shift happening in what it means to be masculine. That gives us permission to soften the hard shell of protection and to acknowledge the strength inherent in being vulnerable. And, we just celebrated, the death of the person known as Jesus, the carpenter. And his example kind of spoke to that. The strength through vulnerability is one of the lessons in that whole story. Because vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. It requires us to be present and engage with others in a meaningful way, which is crucial for conflict resolution. So in order to set those boundaries, we're going to have to get vulnerable. And for people like me, that is not comfortable. I don't mind experiencing my feelings behind closed door where no one can see. You know, when you're setting boundaries with others, it's kind of a public enterprise. It starts within and demonstrates out here. But the beauty of having healthy boundaries is that what's going on here deepens. And in fact, the relationship with the other deepens in meaningful ways. You find, even within the business relationship, you can find deeper ways of connection, of respect, of compassion and empathy that build a working relationship that profits everyone, including the bottom line. That in our relationships, we find a new level of connection, of a deep intimacy, beyond the love of courtship and into rather the love of partnership that allows us to build a life that's worth living. So I invite you to consider this idea of boundaries. You know, we all have maybe some place where we could use a little work in that area. Consider this notion of boundaries. Some action that you might take today to practice that. Take that into our work week. See what's different and report in next week. I'll see you then.
When the road gets dark and you can no longer see, just let my love throw a spark. Have a little faith in me. When the tears you cry, give these loving arms a try. Have a little faith in me. Have a little faith in me. Have a little faith. Have a little faith in me. When your secret heart cannot speak so easily, I said, come on, from a whisper start. Have a little faith in me. When your back's against the wall, turn around and you will see. I will catch you. I will always catch your fall. And all you gotta do is have a little bit of faith in me. Have a little faith in me. Yeah, yeah. Have a little faith now. Have a little faith in me, won't you please? expecting nothing in return, just for you to have a little faith. 'Cause you know time is our friend. For us there is no end. That's all you need. And when the road gets dark, all you got to do, you just got to have a little faith in me. Just a little bit of love and faith in me.
Sitting ovation. Yeah. Teresa James, everyone. Give her some love in the chat for those of you at home. All right, so as we bring the basket, if you've come prepared for an offering this morning, just make your way to the offering basket. For those of you online, if you would, make your way over to the PayPal link. As we sing our offering song, just come on up as you will.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through us.
Just going within for a moment longer as we recognize this basket represents both the generous heart of the individual and the receptive heart of this spiritual community. The generous heart of the individual who knows that they know that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so by whatever avenue your generosity finds its way to our spiritual center, through the mail, through online giving, through the offering here this morning, we accept as spiritual community, we accept all of it with deep love and respect as we know together it goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only this center, but anyone connected to it in any way. From this place of gratitude, we extend a blessing upon our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them. That we know for our planet as well in some crazy cosmic way, that the creative impulse of life itself is expressing it in, through, and as all things. To the extent that we know this to be so, we see its demonstration. In ways great and small, this lifts our hearts. We feel a sense of grace and power that propel us into ways of spiritual living that raise not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us as well. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is, amen. And so, Evan, if you could bring up that last screen for me. We have had two people make their transition. Many of you did not know Betty Lou Mayer because she had moved away to Arizona. She made her transition last week. This week, Marty Laff, who many of you did know, I found this on Facebook, which really, Marty was all about this, that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And so Betty Lou was a singer here for many years. In fact, was a legacy giver. She thought of us in her estate, and Marty was on the board for, well, they were both on the board for several years, and well, they'll just be missed, even as they know they've moved on to the next realm, right? So maybe Francis was there to say, hey, welcome aboard. All right, so with that, I'm going to ask Vinu to pray us out. Thank you all for being here today. Let's give it up for Teresa James one more time. It's good to have you back.
To stay here a few more moments longer in this recognition of the one divinity, the one all that is, sitting in this blessedness of unity with this beautiful, beautiful source, knowing that today's service unfolded in divine perfection, that we leave here minds expanded, hearts uplifted, that everyone we meet benefits from this energy we collect, knowing that Divine Mother is with us always and everywhere. So grateful for this connection, for this service, for each and every person who is an integral and unique part of this co-creation. It is with this full and grateful heart I release my word to the law, knowing it is all done, knowing it is all love, and together we affirm by saying, and so it is. Please stand for the peace song.
Now sing with me now. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment, live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, let it begin with me. All right.